What is going on, Jerome's? The 2023 version of the National Football League selection draft is in the books for the Minnesota Vikings, and adofo-mensah, second-year general manager of the Vikes, head coach Kevin O'Connell, and the scouting department and staff, they got themselves a pretty good one. Damn straight. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset with the Vikings draft. There's like, oh, we didn't have a second-rounder. Yes, it was used on the Hockenson deal, but Addison, Blackman, Ward, Roy, Jaren Hall, McBride, two sets of teammates, and I think that the Vikings check the boxes on a lot of positions of need. I know, it's like, well, it didn't jive up with my big board. Don't care. That's my whole thing, too, where you can have your opinions on prospects. Like you can do all the work in the world. Armchair GMs who watch a little bit of film, watch some TV copy, maybe a little bit of all 22. We can have opinions on some of these prospects, but these teams spend millions upon millions of dollars on scouting and evaluation. They're privy to medicals. They're privy to character background checks. They understand the character. They've been in those interviews. They've watched tape. They've watched them live. They've worked them out, etc. So if you're telling me that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores see a player up here where you see him down here, and they see a player down here that you see up here, I'm going to go with them. So, trust them, love the one that you're with, and let's get this thing going. So we're going to go through the picks, just real quick and dirty, just really quick recap. And it's been a tough couple of days. Really excited to get a little bit of rest. And also, I hear that my children are like adults now. So they're cool people. But it's all for a worthy cause, and absolutely love doing draft stuff. And thank you very much for coming along, making this community amazing. Also, if you're ever going to donate to the show, do it this weekend, because we're taking all of the Super Chats, all of the Venmo donations this weekend, donating it to Twin Cities Food Shelves, exactly what we do. We do like big live stream events. So if you're going to do that, hit it up this weekend. So first up, Jordan Addison, number 23 overall. Welcome on in, Minnesota Viking. And yes, wide receiver 4 off the board. There's a run of 4 wide receivers, but I always thought that Addison, skill set wise, would mesh the best with Justin freaking Jefferson. Now, don't get me wrong, Jackson Smith-Njigba is pretty fantastic, but the numbers that he put up at Pitt working with Kenny Pickett, and then going to USC, working with Caleb Williams, the fact that he worked inside, outside with the men at Troy really says a lot about Addison, and he probably is the best route runner in this class. Getting separation is the name of the game. And, Thielen, I love him to death, man, but he just simply was not getting separation like he used to last season. And that was a big part of it, where he was still entrenched as wide receiver 2. He still had 107 targets. KJ was still wide receiver 3. But Addison in the mix with KJ and Jefferson now, I think he has a chance to be very, very special. And I think Jefferson and Addison long term really going to turn this league on its head, because I think by the end of the season, they'll be regarded as the best wide receiver duo in the league. Now, it's a little bit premature right now, even with Jefferson, the wide receiver alpha 1 in the league, but I'd probably give the nod to Tyreek and Waddle at this moment in time. But Addison is just slippery, man. Like, he gets open in the middle of the field, and him working off of TJ, working off of JJ is going to be a thing of beauty. Because also, guess what's going to happen? The defenses aren't going to be allowed to double Jefferson as much as in previous years, because Addison will kill you, TJ will kill you. I'm really excited for what Addison is going to bring to this passing game. The Vikings already had one of the better offenses in the game. This could be a legit game changer, adding Addison to the mix. Yes. Into the third round. So the Vikings traded down with the Niners. Last pick of the third round, Mekhi Blackman coming out of USC. Now, a lot of people had questions about this. A lot of people were worried. A 0-star recruit, did okay at Colorado. His 1 year in Los Angeles was pretty damn solid, but you worry about the size, you worry about the grabbiness, you worry about everything. Don't care. I really don't care. Brian Flores says that he's up here. I'm rolling with him, man. And Blackman, you just love his ultra competitiveness. You love his alpha personality. I think that he's going to be a guy who's just going to be competing on the outside. Maybe he kicks inside the nickel in some packages, but I think that, we wanted Duke Shelley back, and now we have a younger, cheaper version of Duke Shelley in the mix, and I do think that Blackman is going to compete heavily at the outside corner role. Murphy's going to be starting in base and then kicking inside in all likelihood, and then you got Evans and Booth and Blackman, Joe Wan, Barnes and Tay Gowan in the mix as well. But I think just the great thing about Blackman is when he was at USC with Addison and their teammates, Blackman would always request to cover Addison. So iron sharpens iron situation, and he's a guy who's not going to back down. He's a guy that is cocksure of himself, and he's a guy that is really just going to get after it. I think after the dust settles of fans saying, well, I like these other corners better. Well, the Vikings rolled with Blackman. They did a lot of work on him, top 30 visits, met at the combine, etc. I think that he's quickly going to become a fan favorite, and he talks a big game. I think he's going to back it up as well. And then into the fourth round, so Vikings taking Jay Ward. Now this was another like, what's going on here? But Jay Ward, his versatility, as well as his leadership, very highly regarded down in Baton Rouge. Of course, Durante Jones was the LSU defensive coordinator in 2021, and now the Vikings DB coach. So he was standing on the table for Jay Ward. Ward's really excited to reunite with Durante. And yeah, you look at the testing numbers. This was the draft where Kwesi just looked at the RAS and just like, screw it, F it, man. But Jay Ward, fantastic tackling safety, has versatility. He could play single high, he could play split safeties, he could play down the box, he could play slot corner, which may be his true position, matching up against big slots as well as tight ends, working from the slot. So I think that Ward is going to be a fantastic piece on the Vikings defense, because remember, we said that safety was a low-key need because Lewisine, love him year 2, but he's TBD. Harrison Smith might be the final season. Cam Beasley played a ton last year. I'm not sold on him long term. Metellus is going to be a free agent. So Jay Ward coming in, great special teams player, competes in all the phases, blocked 2 field goals back in the day, and he hits like a ton of bricks. So I think that he playing teams and eventually working his way into the defense, which of course Brian Flores loves playing multiple safeties, including blitzing safeties, which is something that Jay Ward does well as well. I think that he is going to be a hell of an asset for the Vikings, and overall was a pretty good get and find at 134 in the fourth round. Into the fifth, nailed it. So Jaquelin Roy coming in from LSU. Again, another Durante Jones guy. Durante was a DC with LSU, and Jaquelin Roy, he is a guy who was a highly regarded recruit. Grew up in Baton Rouge, right around the facility. And again, this is another one of the RAS who was like, well, what about his testing numbers? Watch him on the field. Super strong, and he plays A gap, plays B gap. So he played a mix of nose, played a mix of 3-tech, 4-tech, 5-tech, and I think that you're just scratching the surface of what this kid brings to the table. 97 career tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 78 pressures, and he's just strong. His man-sized strength could use a little bit more in the lower body, but I think that he has a chance to really come in and compete and be a guy that turns a developmental player. And we got some flack on this, but I actually think that his best position is going to be at the nose, because you look at the highlight reel that the Vikings put out. Most of the plays are him operating from the 0 or 1 tech, so blowing up that A gap, doing some big time things. And I think that he does have the frame to do that. I think that if he puts on 10, 12 pounds of solid muscle, works on that lower body strength, and match that up with his heart and hustle, upper body strength, and his willingness to get after it, I think that in a year, 2, 3 from now, I think Jaquelin Roy not only will be a starter on the Vikings, could potentially be a stud in the making. Getting him in the 5th round is fantastic. Then into the 5th, back into the 5th, 164 overall. Jaren Hall, the Vikings got themselves a quarterback, and I said in the pre-draft process, I love me some Jaren Hall. I understand that he's older because he served a Mormon mission, so he's 25, same as Hendon Hooker. I understand that he's shorter, 6 foot, and I understand the drawbacks on him. There's some medical issues. He has had some nicks and bruises throughout his career, but I love him, man. I absolutely love him, where he's got a live arm. He can make all the throws. He's a good leader. He's got an alpha personality. He's got a bit of a swagger about him, also a bit of a dual threat, solid 40, solid in the agility, and I just like him a lot. Completed 66% of his passes in Provo his final season, 31 touchdowns, 6 picks, takes care of the football, and I think that he's a guy that's going to be really interesting developing. And I don't know what it is. It could be former baseball player, same thing as Russell Wilson, short quarterback, same as Russell. Also, where's number 3? But if you watch him, he looks like peak Russell Wilson. He looks like Russ before he went to Denver and turned to garbage. Like, it's really hard to shake. It is. And I think that he has enough arm strength to succeed in this league. I think that his placement on deep balls is fantastic. And I think that either way, hey, Kevin O'Connell now has a hand-picked quarterback to develop. Now, am I ready to say that he's going to be a starter in this league someday? No. Is he going to be the guy in 2024? Probably not. But I want to see what he can do in an NFL scheme working with Kevin O'Connell long term. And, of course, last but not least, 7th-round pick 222, Dwayne McBride, a rushing champ coming out of UAB, Blazer, 30,000 yards on the ground, 32 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons, and doesn't bring much in terms of receiving, but being a 2-down tyrant in the red zone and short area, just has really good patience, runs with a bit of power, doesn't really have breakaway speed, but has enough speed and shiftiness and agility, as well as just has a really solid nose for the end zone, average a career 7.3 yards per carry, and he's a guy where, does this affect Dalvin Cook? I think that there's still a way that they work things out with Dalvin, perhaps at a pay cut or a restructure or whatever, but they've set themselves up nicely if they do move on from Dalvin, whether it's a trade or a cut. They re-signed Madison, King Kenne, Ty Chandler, and now Dwayne McBride. So overall, that's a really good running back nucleus. And obviously, the Vikings want to run the ball more in 2023, re-signing C.J. Ham, bringing in Josh Oliver. So, I mean, the Vikings are set up pretty good. And frankly, if Dalvin is traded, I wouldn't be shocked if Dwayne McBride finds himself some work as a rookie. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Pacheco last year with the Chiefs was a 7th-rounder. Tyler Algier with the Falcons ran for 1,000 yards. He was a 5th-rounder out of BYU. So, I mean, does Dwayne McBride get some work? It's possible, man. It certainly is possible. But, I mean, overall, the Vikings draft, yes, you included some picks for the Hockenson deal, and Hockenson is a top 3 tight end in this league. He's not 2, but Addison has a chance to completely change the Vikings offense, a long-term wide receiver 2 with Jefferson. Blackman adds some great depth along the outside. Jay Ward is going to be all over the place in that secondary as well as on special teams. Jaquelin Roy has that power, has that size, is a great project. Is he going to be a nose tackle? Is he going to be a 5-tech? Is he going to be both? Who knows? Jaren Hall, like I said, has that upside, and I think that he could develop into a little something down the line. And Dwayne McBride, I mean, McBride is NFL ready. Like, he's going to be able to carry the mail if he gets an opportunity. So overall, I'm pretty psyched about this class. Like, obviously, there was a lot of trades. Obviously, there was a lot of consternation. Obviously, there was a lot of, oh, you overdrafted this guy over my guy. Doesn't matter. These are the Vikings now. Love the one you're with. Kwesi did the damn thing. And all I see is seven Hall of Famers, including Hockenson. So there we go. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Quick and dirty recap of the Vikings 2023 NFL draft class. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo and check out the store, purplefdw.net. But until next time, Skull Production Value.